Hello and welcome to today's class. We are going to demonstrate a few aspects in a camera operation which is applicable in the field of photography or else if you're working in the television industry. And on today's class we are going to discuss about what is called camera movement, and we are going to discuss about what we call a camera mount. First of all, we are going to demonstrate what is camera movement. And we have two main types of camera movement. We have camera head movement, whereby you're moving the camera without necessarily moving the tripod, or else you have what is called camera mount movement, whereby you're moving the camera from one place to another. And when you're discussing about camera head movement, you have three main types of camera head movement. And the first type of camera head movement is what you call camera panning. Panning simply means horizontal movement of the camera. You can either move it to the left or you can move it to the right. Let's say this is your camera, this video camera. Maybe you want to pan. Simply means maybe you are following your subject is moving to the left. You can pan it to the left to get your subject, or else to get a specific camera angle. Or else, if your subject is on the right hand side, you can still pan your camera on the right hand side in order to get the most appropriate depth of field, or else to get the most appropriate theme of your subject. So simply, when you're talking about camera panning, is whereby you are moving your camera either to the left or to the right side in order to come up with the most appropriate shot. Can be maybe you need an extreme close-up shot, or else you need a medium shot. Either way, you can either pan it to the left or to the right to get your subject and to get the main theme of your shot. So in simple terms, when you're discussing about panning, it's the horizontal movement, either left hand side or right hand side of the camera. Then how what is called camera tilting. To tilt simply means you are either moving the camera up or downward. You can tilt your camera upward, or else you can still tilt your camera downward. You can tilt downward. Maybe you need to get a shot that is extreme close-up, or else you can still tilt your camera upward if you want to get an upward shot, or else an upper shot of your subject. So tilting simply means you are moving your camera either downwards or you are moving your camera upward to get the most appropriate shot that you need to disseminate or communicate to your audience. So I hope you can be able to recall that, and you can be able to understand what is the camera panning and what is camera tilting. So let's look at what is called zooming. To zoom simply means you are either increasing or decreasing your lenses in order to get the subject. Let's say the subject is very far. You can zoom in order to move the subject closer to you, or else you can zoom out in order to move the subject far. Or else you are taking, let's say, a telephoto shot. I mean, the subject is very far. You need to zoom in order to capture your subject appropriately. And you can zoom. We have the zoom lenses here, which you can use to either zoom in when you're talking about a video camera. Still, zooming can still apply to still cameras. Like for example, this is a still camera. You can zoom your camera. You can either zoom in or you can either zoom out, depending on the distance of the camera and the focal length that you want to take when you are taking your shot. So zooming simply means either moving the subject closer or taking the subject far from where the photographer or the videographer is situated or located. So these are the three main types of camera head movement. And when you're talking about camera head movement, our camera is still static. We haven't moved the camera, we are still at the same place. Only you're moving the camera head, but it's still at the same position. That's why it is called camera head movement. Then still we have mount movement, or else camera mount movement. And we are talking about camera mount movement. You as a videographer, or as a camera personnel, you are moving the camera from one position to another. You're not standing at the same position from where you are when you're talking about camera mount movement. And the first type of camera mount movement is what we call camera dolling. Camera dolling simply means you are moving the camera either, let's say this is your camera, and you want to, we can use even the still camera. You want to use your camera, maybe your subject is a bit far, you can move closer to the subject, or you can move far away from the subject in order to get your most appropriate shot. So if you're talking about dollying, is whereby you want to get what is called a dolly shot. And a dolly shot, you must move towards the subject. In most cases, maybe you need a close-up, extreme close-up shot, or as a close-up shot, you have to move closer to your subject at a specific angle before you take your shot. Whereas the same principle applies to if you're using to a video camera, for example, ours here. You can move your camera towards the subject. For example, this is your subject, and you make sure that your shot is stable. Or you can move the left hand side with your camera in order to achieve the dolly shot. That's what we call camera dollying. Or as what is called camera craning. And you'll find in most advanced studios they have a crane. They have a crane cameras whereby cameras are mounted on a crane. A crane, just like a normal crane that you normally use for construction site. The same principle applies when you are mounting a camera to a crane. And the main purpose of using a crane is to get a vertical shot. Or as you want to get a wide angle shot, either you can move to the left hand side, or you can move your camera towards the right hand side in order to achieve a specific camera angle. For example, you are covering a wide event, or as an open event, and maybe so many people attending. There's no way you can use a dollying camera in order to get all these particular people. But you can mount your camera on a crane, whereby you can just be seated at the same place, but you can be able to move your crane either the left hand side, right hand side, or left hand side to achieve a crane shot. So in most cases, these are a bit expensive, but when you go to advanced studios, they have a crane camera, cameras that are always mounted in the crane to get a wide angle shot, or else to get a wide coverage of your shot. Then how what is called a tracking, or else a camera tracking. A tracking, probably you need a subject, or else there's a subject you need to cover. You have to track this from that track. You have to track the subject by following your subject in order to achieve a specific camera angle. Maybe you need a wide angle, you need a medium angle, or else you need, let's say, a close-up camera shot. You need to move toward the subject in order to get the most appropriate camera shot. So maybe you can move to this side, left hand side, whereby you're going to talk about how do you mount a camera. Mounting a camera, for example, a still camera, you can mount the lenses. Let's say these are your lenses. Mounting simply means fixing the lenses appropriately. Whereas, whereby you connect your lenses where they're supposed to be before you start using your camera. And these are interchangeable lenses because you're using a digital camera. You can hold very well. You must know where you can remove the lenses. We have a fixer here. You have to hold properly, slowly, and you unmount. We have unmounted the lens. This is what we call unmounting the lens. Or else you can still mount it, whereby you refix it, and you must always be very keen, because any mistake can lead to a failure, or else you can. Lenses are always very delicate. You must always be very keen when you are mounting the lenses. Depending on the nature of the lenses you are using, maybe let's say you're using a lens of, for example, this one is 18 to 135 mm, and maybe you need a telephoto shot. You can mount using, let's say, a telephoto lenses in order to achieve a maximum lens. So when you are mounting a still camera, simply means you're using a specific lens that maybe you need a wide angle lens, or else you need a telephoto lens. Depending on the kind of shot you are taking, you are going to fix or to mount your camera appropriately. And always be very keen, because you are saying that lenses are always very delicate. So still, for example, when you're using a video camera like this one, you can mount your camera. The reason why you are mounting them is to achieve stability, because we need to get a stable shot. And that's why in most cases, you normally mount our cameras. You can either use a tripod. Tripod means it has a three-legged stand, like this one we are using here. This is what you call a tripod. It has 3 legs. So the main reason we are using is to achieve stability of our shots and to communicate appropriate shot that communicates specific messages to our targeted audiences. But you still gonna find that maybe let's say you are covering, for example, an active event. For example, you are covering let's say a handball match. Using a tripod is going to take you a lot of time. In most cases, before you take a shot, maybe the action has already taken place. Or at the pitch of the shot, the action has already taken place. That's why when you are covering something like an event, you normally use a monopod. A monopod is whereby your camera, you fix your camera on just on a single pod like this one. Let's say this is your monopod. You are going to fix your camera here, and you stand with your camera. You fix your camera, and you are ready to take a shot in a moving subject or as an action subject. So this one, the reason normally use a monopod is because monopod you can easily move with it around as compared to a tripod is a bit bulky or heavy sometimes. Whereby before you move your tripod, the action has already taken place. Still, you have what is called a chest pod. This is whereby you mount your camera on your chest. We have a chest pod, though you don't have one here. You can mount a chest pod and you fix your camera and you remain stable in order to get a stable shot. And this one applies majorly in action movies or as action events. For example, in a football match, whereby there's no you can be running left, right in order to come up with most appropriate shots. By the time you are running, the action has already taken place. But you can stand at a specific place. You mount your camera on a monopod, and you are able, or raise a chest pod, and you are able to get the most appropriate stable shot. Still, you can use a crane to mount your camera, whereby you mount your camera on the crane. We have already discussed about crane mounting, and you are able to get most appropriate shot. And we say that the most appropriate time you normally use crane is whereby you are covering wider audiences. Maybe you need to get wide angle shot. You have to position your camera on a crane. Still, we have robotic pedestal camera mount. This is whereby your camera is controlled by a computer. Just like a robot, it's called robotic. And this is whereby you mount your camera on a specific machine that looks like a robot, and this robot can either move to the left, right, in front or behind, still can go up to get the most appropriate shot. So you as a camera personnel, you are just at a specific place, but now you are using a computer to control the movement of the camera, either maybe to the left, to the right, up, downs, depending on where the subject is, or is the most appropriate camera shot that you want to get. I hope you have been able to get the main concept about a camera movement and camera mount. Let's meet next time at the same place. Thank you.